Well, thank you for coming here today. I appreciate you standing out here in the hot sun on a nice summer day. As a community, New Bedford is at a critical juncture. In certain respects, we've made progress in developing our local economy. Downtown businesses are growing. Our arts community is also growing. We've been cut off from our waterfront for a long time, but we've begun the process of reconnecting our downtown with the waterfront, and that will bear dividends in the long run. But in the long run, whether our community will prosper depends on the education level of our workforce. The days when you didn't need an education to get a good job are over. To compete for the jobs of tomorrow, we will need to provide our children with the tools for a knowledge-based economy. That means that we have to deliver, we as a city have to deliver a first-rate public school education to our children. As a candidate for mayor, I have made clear my belief that our city's economic competitiveness and indeed its quality of life cannot be separated from the quality of education our schools offer. As has been widely reported, a state education report recently highlighted several critical areas of our school system that need immediate improvement. The report did not come as a surprise. Compared to the state's other urban communities, New Bedford has fallen behind in terms of MCAS scores and the four-year graduation rate. Concerned about performance and sometimes the very safety of the schools in the system, many families are leaving New Bedford. For the health of our community, these trends are unsustainable. Our schools need to do better, and they need to do better now. But rather than view the state report as a condemnation of the system, however, let us treat it as an opportunity to move the system forward, to implement the kinds of changes that are long overdue. It is in this spirit that I am announcing today my education agenda for the New Bedford school system. The agenda is the product of hours of discussions with professionals both within and outside the system, with teachers, with students, with parents, and with administrators. It is centered on certain core objectives: restoring accountability at all levels of the school system, empowering principals to lead their schools and to hold them accountable, and treating teachers as the professionals they are. There are certain key proposals in the agenda. One has to do with so-called school-based management practices. Principals and teachers are closest to the action and are therefore in prime positions to understand the needs of students. We must give principals the flexibility they need to lead their schools. That means they need greater flexibility in hiring decisions. Teacher seniority is a valid consideration in the process, but it is not the only consideration. And it should not be the only consideration. Principals should be allowed to weigh a teacher candidate's past performance as well as their compatibility with colleagues. With greater autonomy, however, must come greater accountability. Principals must be evaluated regularly and be called to account for the performance of their schools. Good leadership at the principal level can make a big difference. We are gathered here today in front of Carney Academy, a school that through the leadership of Principal Karen Tredup, who's here with us today, and the dedication of her staff, has performed exceptionally well across all measures, despite serving a population that is hardly affluent. There are good leaders in the New Bedford school system, and we need to cultivate more. We need to put measures in place that cultivate good leadership. The next key component of the agenda has to do with student discipline. According to teachers in the middle school and the high schools, middle schools and high school, a small number of students consistently disrupt their classrooms. We cannot permit the education of the large majority of students who come to school ready to learn to be disrupted by a handful of their peers. More often than not, these challenging students come from tragically difficult backgrounds. Although we must work harder to reach out to them, there is certain behavior that is inexcusable. It is utterly unacceptable, for instance, for a student to swear at a teacher, much less threaten one. Although the school system has relied heavily on suspensions in recent years to address behavioral problems, this approach is incomplete and often ineffective. To reduce the disruptiveness in these classrooms, we will need to transfer a small number of students, of incorrigible students, out of mainstream classes to our alternative schools. That way other students can focus on learning and disruptive students can have a chance to succeed in a smaller, more controlled setting. The next key component has to do with dropout prevention. New Bedford's dropout rate is unacceptable. The key to dealing with it is engaging parents. Parents play a pivotal role in supporting their children's education, and therefore they must be engaged as partners along the way. We will do this in many ways, but here are three important ones. I propose, first of all, to establish positions of graduation coach at the high school and at the middle schools. Graduation coaches have worked well in other school systems around the United States. Graduation coaches are what their titles imply. They are there to identify at-risk students along the way and to guide them toward the path of graduation. I'll pause right there while we let the truck go by. The role of graduation coaches is to ensure that students have the resources they need to avoid falling behind and falling into the trap of having to choose between catching up with peers who are 1 or 2 grades ahead and dropping out. Secondly, we have to focus on early detection. We have to determine which kids are at risk as early as 2nd grade. We do this for any number of ways, and we have the data to do it, but much of it is just ensuring that we have the data available to teachers, to principals, to ensure that they recognize which kids are susceptible to falling behind. Third, we need to expand the home visit program that was started right here at Carney, district-wide. The home visit program, which has been at a pilot stage, has been a success under Karen Tredup's leadership. This program has fostered a sense of trust between Carney Academy and the families it serves, and district-wide it will encourage collaboration between parents and teachers on important issues that face our students. Again, this is a key way to engage parents at every stage of the process and to keep them involved in their children's education. Lastly, our system has to be also about achievement. To those parents who wish to continue to live in New Bedford but believe that their children will have a better shot at getting into a good college by going elsewhere, I say, wait a minute. We will reestablish New Bedford High School as the best on the South Coast for college admissions, as it was for so long. This will entail many steps, but most of all, what we will do is we will expand the advanced placement offerings at the high school. AP offerings in any high school are key to college, getting kids into college, because APs are the measure that colleges use to evaluate the rigor of high school curricula. Students who take AP courses tend to get into better colleges. We will also create the position of college counselor at the high school. Guidance counselors at the high school have been overburdened with all sorts of problems and have had difficulty focusing on college admissions over the years. The college counselor who will help guidance counselors and students navigate the college admissions process and the scholarship application process, we will facilitate the admission of students from New Bedford High School into top colleges as they once were accepted in years past. The education agenda that we're releasing today does not pretend to be a set of answers to every challenge facing our school system. It is not a top-down plan for reform. We will move our school system forward and our city forward only if we recognize the need to change, but also if we collaborate toward mutual goals, mindful that no one person or no one group has all the answers. As mayor, I pledge to work closely with students, parents, teachers, and administrators to create hope, optimism, and empowerment in our schools. We can do better, and we will do better. As a starting point in the discussion, I will convene an education summit before being sworn in as mayor. The summit will bring together all the stakeholders to the table to develop a shared vision, to contribute ideas for education, innovation, and reform, and to help restore confidence in our school system. Our children and our city deserve nothing less. And thank you very much.